about to go downtown.
Downtown Kay.
Downtown. You about to go downtown.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, and welcome to another week's episode of Downtown World. Don't waste no time with negativity. And this week, y'all know how I feel about my people from Toronto. And today we do have a queen R&B princess in the building, okay? Leila Dey, how are you today, queen?
Amazing. I'm doing well. I cannot complain at all.
I'm blessed.
Hey.
I do have that one on repeat.
Yes.
Blessed and highly favored for real. And I'm super, before we get anywhere, I want to give you your flowers. I want to let you know I'm so proud of you, queen, for never giving up, for always being in pursuit of your dreams. And every time that I've been on your social media, whether it's in support or seeing someone else in support of you, you've always never given up and always going towards your dreams. And I'm so happy to be celebrating the release of Detour with you.
Hey, thank you so much. That's so sweet.
We're going to liven it up. Detour is here. What inspired that title? I'm just diving right in. What inspired that title of Detour? You look fucking amazing. Immaculate on the cover. Like, you did the damn thing, okay? So, what inspired that Detour?
Honestly, life. Life is my biggest inspiration. Honestly, it just happened. I mean, I didn't know I was creating the project before I started creating the project. I was just writing songs. I was like, what is going to what am I writing about? And I'm writing about my life. What is going to connect to me? What am I talking about? What am I going through? And at the time, I was going through it. In relationship wise, I was going through it, and I never really spoke about it because I'm the kind of person that really just like kind of puts what I need to say into my art. So I never really spoke about it. So I was creating songs about what I was going through, but didn't really have a title yet. And it came down to actually compiling a project. I was like, well, I got enough songs that kind of go together, but what would I call it? And really, after contemplating, like I had a whole bunch of other names. Girl, you don't even want to hear those names. Some of them was like Long Road, and I was like, nah, not Long Road. Like, who the hell, who the hell names a
All
project
right,
Long
Butcher.
Road?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to hear some of the names. But I ended up, I was speaking to one of my friends, and she was just like, honestly, like it's kind of like your life, like your whole entire life, kind of went on a detour. And I was like, yeah, it did. And the word detour just really spoke to me in regards to my situation. But then also, when I was like almost finishing up the writing and recording process of the project, we went into a pandemic. And then I was like, whoa, detour. Like it was just an affirmation that this
You're
was
on the
kind
right
of what
track.
I was supposed to, yeah, I was on the right track. And this is what the project was supposed to be called because I just feel like all the time my life is filled with so many detours. Like it wouldn't be my life if it wasn't doing some wild thing, like just
Right,
throwing me off guard, like tripping me
right.
up. So yeah, that's
Well,
how the name.
one of my favorite corny kind of memes is it will show like two sides, right? And it'll be like journey to success. And it will be like what people think it is. And it was like just an incline, sorry, doing as if you're here. It's just an incline line with the arrow going up. And then it's like what it actually looks like. And it almost looks like a heart palpit. You know what I mean? And that is the beauty of life as well, where yes, it's a detour, but a detour doesn't necessarily mean that you're lost. It's just another direction and another way to get to where you're going. And through listening through your project from top to bottom, like I got that like beauty out of it, and it really connected the title. And as I said, being just a personal fan of your music and your career is beautiful to see the way you put this impact shit all together, because it's very authentic in my opinion to you.
Appreciate that, honestly. Like I agree with you when you say like life is about, I always say this, life is about like hills and dips. and
Yeah.
um and a lot of the project, like when I'm coming out of the project now, but when I was in it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so trash, but coming out of it, I'm like, okay, like cool. I think moving forward and getting older and as we mature as women, we're just like, okay, we got to kind of embrace life's
Mm,
detours. like you said, they really do allow us to be exactly where we're supposed to be. And you never know, like, what happens, whatever happens, what's going to happen on a detour that's going to set you up for exactly where you need to be, the right place, you know? So,
Exactly. Exactly. So through just everything, I want everyone to know just a little bit more background about you. Those of you that are not from Toronto, or you're from Toronto, you're just not paying attention to the R&B scene, because anytime R&B comes up in Toronto, like Leila Dey is a name that will forever come up, right? Which is beautiful. So singing from the age of 15, what inspired that? Were you going to church? Was it like with friends at school? 15, that's like grade 9, grade 10. What was happening? What was happening?
you know what? Actually, I grew up in a very like musically inclined family. My mom was always playing music like like I'm telling you, every single Saturday morning we're waking up, like I'm waking up to the music, right?
Shout out to
My,
moms.
my dad was a DJ. Like I was very musically inclined when I was younger. I went to church. So I would say like I was singing way before 15, but at the age of 15, I actually became very serious. It's when I started recording my first actual song. So
Mm,
that time, honestly, I don't know. Nothing was really going through my mind. It was just, I actually, what was going through my mind was I'm going to the WNBA because at the time I was a baller. I was like,
right.
oh, like I'm gonna be a baller, like a shot caller. Like,
Caller. Love it. Love it.
boy, was I wrong. I always knew I loved music, but
Yeah.
for, always, I also loved basketball. I had a love for basketball. I played competitive sports. Shout outs to my school, Eastern Commerce. You know, we won.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yes, we won a lot of off. Like we did our thing. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Time, I was at a place where it was kind of like I would sing outside of playing basketball, like in the lunchroom. I had another friend who sang at school and she was singing. And I was like, yeah, I could do that too. And we would sing together.
Yeah.
And then we had the talent show, and girl, give me the dollars and I will be there. So it was like, oh, like if you are a part of the talent show, you'll win some money at the end of it. And I was like,
Same.
okay. So I definitely overestimated myself and I think where I was at the time because of the fact that I had never sang solo before. And
Mm,
at this talent show, I always tell everybody this, and anybody that's that Eastern, they know, like, this was my first time singing. And I had such huge stage fright that I could not step in front of the curtain. So the curtain was closed, and
yeah.
I sung like 3/4 of the song behind the curtain.
Oh,
But the voice, it's really the voice. The voice really spoke to people and allowed me to eventually come in front of the curtain, but then also allowed me to win that talent show. And I was like, oh my gosh, like maybe I can really sing. Like, you know, outside of your mom saying, oh yeah, you sing
yeah,
nice, like
yeah,
whatever, like maybe I do really have something.
yeah.
Yeah, and you know, my brother kind of honed in on the idea of me being an artist, a solo artist, and he was like, let's just record and see where it goes. And that was my first one of my first recordings was at 15 years old. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And it is so amazing when you can look back at the early years of the things that you're doing now, or the things that you decided to take seriously, and you can see who's played a pivotal role or who are there in those key moments that has helped form Leila Day today, right? So that's beautiful, really beautiful. Let me ask you, R&B made me. I noticed that was in your one of your social media bios. What does that mean to you? Because to me, that is a huge statement. Loving music the amount that I feel like I love it. So R&B made me. What does that mean to you?
Yo, like for me, it's like in every single aspect. And it's not even like it's not to be like it's not to come off as like very conceited or anything, but literally R&B made me. Like I grew up, my mom,
Yes.
like if I show you like we have like CDs that are like Lauryn Hill, Monica, Brandy, Whitney, like I was immersed in R&B,
Yeah.
you know, dating before, but mainly like because obviously I'm a 90s baby, like mainly 90s R&B is what was just running the scene. And I was so inspired by that as a young person that to this day, those songs are so nostalgic for me. Like 90s R&B is just like it. I obviously respect the greats, but I feel like when I really think of my artistry, um, I think of R&B and I think of me and I think authentically that's who I am. For a long time, as an artist in the city, I think a lot of the feedback that I would get from people who I felt like maybe were mentoring me or label executives, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, like your sound is a little bit dated. You give me this vibe of like 90s R&B." And I really used to try to shy away from that because I was
Mm,
like, "Man, I want to be current. Like I don't want to sound like anything old. Like people have
that is
always
current now. Yeah.
girl, right."
Yeah.
But I was really coming up when I like even let's say even 7 years ago, like people were like, nah, your sound is kind of dated. Like we need you to be more current. And the
Yeah.
sound at that time was more like very airy, very atmospheric, very generico, very like we're not really thinking vocals. It wasn't that necessarily that time in R&B. And so I was really conflicted for a long time around whether or not I was gonna try to really keep my traditional R&B sound,
Hmm.
or really to kind of change and kind of update my sound to something a little bit more current.
Hmm.
During a little bit of time, as you can tell, like I hadn't released music for a long time, but then
Yeah.
I started saying like, the state of music and a lot of people's influence come from the same influence that I have. And I think instead of shying away or trying to deny a part of me that it really is a big part of me, I just said, you know what, I'm going to actually embrace that. I'm going to embrace the fact that I do sound very 90s, that my runs are very like SWV or
Yes. Yes.
whatever
Love
thing,
it.
Brandy, whomever I'm inspired by, and that's just who I am. And so I think if I when I started embracing that more is when people started embracing that part of me, and then I found my tribe, the people who really mess with that kind of music, and they're like, that's what I want to hear. So yeah, I feel like when I say R&B made me, I find it's like on many different levels. Like I grew up in R&B, it literally created me, the child Leila Dey, and then even as an adult now, I feel like it's brought me through so much. Like I rely on music and R&B to like kind of get me through my feelings and help me decipher what I'm feeling, my emotions and whatnot. So on all aspects, on all fronts, I just feel like R&B, like I'm encompassed by R&B. No other genre outside of maybe gospel has really made me feel like
That
the way.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
feel.
It's like one of my records that like is I have a set of like happy songs that like no matter what, like put on this song and like, one of those all-time favorites for me is Luther Vandross, House is Not a Home. Plenty, of course, you can choose from Luther, but like that one, no matter when I hear it, what time of day, what is going on, it could literally like almost bring tears almost to my eye for the beauty of just everything he did on that record, top to bottom, right? So, and shout outs to also Paul Porter, where he was a BET exec for quite a lot during our formative years, and we had that conversation. And just the fact of like hearing music versus what the data is showing you, and it's very important as an artist for you to remain true to your music versus the data and the algorithms and what the computer can prove versus like what you know and hear and what we know music to have done for us, because I'm a 90s baby as well, as opposed to how it's kind of calculated in this day and time, if that makes, well, yeah, you definitely understand what I'm saying.
Right, like it makes all the sense. And it just like I said, if there is an artist out there, like I want to know that, like if there's an artist out there who kind of someone's telling them they have like a dated sound, and it doesn't have to be R&B, it could be like folk music, it could be country, it could be like you sound like older, like Lana Del Rey. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. Like I think those are all of the things that make us who we are. And as long as like I mean, every time that people have kind of compared me to somebody, it's been somebody who's been extremely successful and who
Hey,
has been given us the feels. Like, you know what I'm
facts.
saying? Like sometimes people are like, "Oh my God, you have Lauren Hill." Like, I love Lauren Hill. That is such a compliment to me. And there will never be another Lauren Hill. But like
Yeah.
the idea of like if we think about what Lauren Hill has done for hip hop and R&B culture, I mean, that's amazing. I mean, why wouldn't I want to be like Lauren Hill? So I think, yeah, like I think it's different, but like when I'm talking about R&B, like I'm saying literally this is the genre that birthed me and allows me to feel, and it's like it's a release for me, and that's literally all I'm talking about in terms of R&B. Yeah,
Yeah.
when I say that.
Yeah. So, during my journey, obviously everyone's witnessing it every day of growing as an entrepreneur and learning the things that come along with that, no matter what field, because I do see being an artist as a sector, like being an entrepreneur as well. It's a complete investment in self and into the art. So something that has truly been ringing as a topic, important every time, is that morning routine, or the importance of your morning routine for the people that like are truly trying to get to heights and success. That is something that I regularly hear them speak on. So what are mornings like with Leila Dey?
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, some people know, but I'm still honestly, girl, like I wish I have an idea of how I would love my mornings to start. But because I'm currently working like a 9 to 5, they
Yeah.
don't start
Yeah.
ideally, but I know that there are certain things that I would like to do each and every day when I wake up, regardless if I'm going to my 9 to 5 or I'm working in music.
Yeah.
Uh, but I feel like, every single day that I wake up, for me, I always have to just give thanks for, the new day that I've been given the ability to wake up. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm as far as I know, I'm in good health. And
Amen.
I like to clear my mind, like, um, I don't like to like immediately jump out of bed and start doing things. I'm the kind of person, like, I will lay in bed, like my alarm will go off and then I'll lay in bed and just really think and compartmentalize and kind of clean up my mind if I haven't been able to do so the night before. That's really big for me.
Yeah.
I know that people, like, for example, a lot of artists or people who are like really big music connoisseurs, they
Yeah.
love to consistently listen to music. And it's funny because people are always like when I come around, okay, like what do you want to listen to? And to be honest, sometimes like,
I
not
want to
sometimes,
hear anything.
I love silence. Like if I'm driving home, people are like, "Wait, why is the radio not on?" I'm like, or
Yeah.
like, "Why is there not music playing?" And I'm like, I really genuinely love the silence. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I get to compartmentalize. I get to reflect on my day. I get to plan, my future or whatever I want to do,
Yeah.
and to envision what I feel like my life
Mm.
should be or is going to be like. That's very big for me. I love music. It's not to say that I don't love music, but I do also love my silence at the same time, so that I can formulate like my own thoughts and
Yeah.
not always somebody else's.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Um,
Big, like my morning routine definitely would consist, like if I wasn't working, um I think a 9 to 5, and I had a little bit more of flexibility with my artistic journey. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, I would love to be able to like wake up, meditate, like take a shower. Also, showers are very therapeutic for
Oh,
me.
yeah. Ooh, yeah. I always say, not me, Char me, all the time, all day.
I shower. Everyone, like for example, like I need a shower to
Yeah.
myself. Like I don't want nobody waiting after me because I'm
Yeah,
gonna
to
be
use
like, understand I'm gonna be long because
yeah.
in where I get to really, again, like be with my own thoughts. And I love the hot water. It's just kind of,
Oh, yeah.
rubbing on me. And it feels very therapeutic for me overall. I always tell people, for me, that's my one like self-care thing that I love to do. And yeah, and then I think that like if it was up to me, I would just really start the day a lot more slower than
Yeah.
I.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I love to, once I feel like I've accumulated my own thoughts, then
Yeah.
I'll put on smooth and like ease into the day because now I'm like getting into the vibe. I love to listen to like, 70s, 80s, just like a groove. Sometimes old rockas, like I'm
Oh,
Jamaican.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
The rockas come on, and you're like, okay, I'm in a groove, like, if
Yeah.
it's throw on like, the Walls group. I love the Walls group. So like I'll throw on some gospel, something like that. But it just depends on my vibe for sure.
Yeah. And I want to say, regardless if you're doing 9 to 5, because a lot of us are, right? That's the real, I like to get the real aspects of entrepreneur, right? And a lot of us are using our time to pay for our passion, right? So don't ever beat up yourself for that. If anything, it sucks at first, but waking up earlier, when you finally are able to get up at that 5:30, even 6 o'clock, But once you get the hang of it, trust, like by the time it comes time to get to work, yeah, you're gonna be tired first, but like it truly pays off. Cause like I'm a granny. I don't drink coffee, I drink tea. So like in the mornings, I like to, catch a good inspirational like podcast, drink my tea. So definitely that's something that like I've had to forge in that time. But now that my body is kind of like used to it, it allows you to run um, more things for the business before you gotta go and give all that time to a white man, right? So
Would you consider yourself a morning person?
yes, definitely.
See, I'm
I am not.
a morning person. I also don't drink coffee. I drink tea.
Tea.
Tea is definitely very important to me in the morning time
Yeah.
because again, it's like this warmth and comfort.
Mm-hmm. It's like a
Build
nice hug in the morning.
You're like, what? I'm ready to start the day. The
Mm-hmm.
who's coming in, like if I it's kind of like people in their coffee. Like if I haven't had my tea,
Yeah.
kind of a little less patient, but like ready and and then good to
Mind
go.
your business.
So I have all the patience for you after my tea, but yeah, I don't. I mean, for me, like if I'm being honest, like I really don't consider myself a morning person. So I don't know about anybody else, but sometimes
So
like
that's
if I'm
real. Like, let's talk about like as an artist, you're working 9 to 5, you're doing all these things to flourish. Detours dropping, you're looking immaculate. It's not easy to have glowing skin, especially when tired. Like, girl, how you doing it? Like, we wanna know.
it's not easy. It's
It's
sometimes
not.
it's honestly that like it's that sacrifice. To be honest with you, like
Mm,
sometimes I see, some of my friends who are having like complete artist lives. Like they
yeah.
wake up whatever time. They're like, let me just stroll into the studio. And then I got a little, photo shoot today, and I'm gonna shoot some content. And I'm like, damn, do that. Like, you know what I'm
That
saying?
is the voice you hear when they're saying all these things.
Is the voice I hear. It's almost like a
Yeah.
very
It's the
zen.
YouTube voice, the vlogger voice. I got you.
Like they don't sound stressed at all. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this aspiring to be like, and not necessarily them, but that level of freedom and financial freedom is essentially what I want for myself in my entire musical journey and career.
So let's
um
say this: worry
yes,
is no longer a part of my
absolutely.
life.
Worry is no longer a part of my life.
Period.
Yes,
Period. I
period.
have time for the things that I love to do.
Yes,
Period.
for the things that I love to do.
Period. And you do live an artist life. That is an artist life. We're
No, I
being very real. Very real. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, like at times it feels
Yeah.
like it not it feels it is it's two full-time jobs because
Yeah.
I as much into my artistry as I do my 9 to 5, and
Facts.
love what I do 9 to 5, but I know that I'm destined
You
to be
know
an
the road. For
yeah.
sure. For sure. We're all rooting for you. So I want to know, tell me about a time where you felt like you had almost or you had completely given up,
On music.
just in general. If
Yeah,
music,
mm.
like just like when was the time that you feel like, ugh, I given up?
So I think the kind of person that I am, I find myself to be a fairly positive person when it comes to my own aspirations and goals. If I write them down, they're real. I'm the type of person like I make vision boards. I write down the things that I want to get done. I have step by step to do lists like daily, etc. I'm
Love
that kind of person.
it. Love it.
So, in all honesty, I cannot say that I've ever been at a place where I've wanted to like give up entirely, but I have been at a place where I have contemplated like, is music something that is still serving me?
Mm,
Still something that, is still serving my soul. And if it's not, what is happening? You need to reevaluate.
Mm,
Um, very big. I'm very big on taking the breaks that you need mentally.
mm,
And I've been through things, and I was forced, essentially, my body and my mind forced me to take a break. And it
mm,
was kind of like I'm so used to like go 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 that when it came time to go 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 and I couldn't go anymore, it started affecting me, like developing social anxiety,
mm-hmm,
etc. I was like, oh, well, now I have to reevaluate what's actually happening for me, and I have to deal with me, or I'm not going to be
mm,
effective to anyone.
mm,
So, yeah, there's been many a times like where, I feel like even, after the passing of my sister, I didn't know for a good chunk, let's say like a year after, I was still in go mode. I was like, okay, this has happened, but it's not going to stop you. I dropped a project, Black Bouquet, and I was like, okay, like this is what you do. You're gonna get over it. You're good.
mm,
And it wasn't until like a year and change after that my mind and my body and people would look at me and they'd be like, you don't look as happy, like, you know you didn't are you taking the time?
you're
and
wearing it on the outside. Mm-hmm,
and you know what, like it's equivalent to, I don't know if you ever, like, been to work and then you really tried, you like you really tried, you woke up, you're like, okay, I put on my face, I did my hair, I came to work and I'm wearing a smile, and someone's like, oh my God, you look tired, and you're like, that is
yeah,
not a compliment, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
It's like that's the kind of feeling, but
mm,
sometimes it's like putting that mirror in front of your face and saying, "Oh, well, yeah, maybe like what is happening, what is going on." Sometimes it's not what other people perceive, but at the same
mm-hmm,
time, I think for me, um, I knew that something was going on that I hadn't addressed, and
mm,
that was pain, and that was all of these other things. So, yeah, I ended up taking a break. And I was like, I need this break because if I don't, I'm going to break down.
yeah,
And yeah, I took the time. I took the time to just sort of heal, understand myself, understand my sister's legacy. What do I want to say? What did my sister's life mean to me? What was the purpose of her being here? What did she
yeah,
need to tell me? And just a lot of different questions that I had, questioned myself, but also, yeah, just took the time to understand me a little bit more. It's still a process, even till now, but
yeah.
I think I'm at a much better place with everything.
Mm. Thank you for honoring me with that because, as I said, I am also a personal fan of you, and that was something I definitely did notice. I felt the halt as a fan, or trying to look through your socials, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, man, I hope this girl don't turn like on the Toronto Tings and just stop. Like, man, she was going to go to like. I'm just being very transparent with my thoughts. And I'm here like, yo, I really want to ask her about it. I really want to ask her about it, but I said, you know what? It is don't waste no time with negativity. And she's here, and Detour's here, and God just has a way. As I said, I'm working with B. Shout outs to Boy Pape. Shout outs to Baby Marquis. You know what I mean? So it's just like for this full circle moment, in my opinion, to come around, just like, yes, this queen is back. It was a detour. Like, it's so fitting. So I am so happy for you, and thank you for sharing that transparency.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
seriously. And I said that. I said, even when I was phrasing the question to myself, I said, she hasn't given up. So I don't want to insinuate. So I just wanted to give you that space, and perfect. Thank you. Right. And that is more than people even deserve of an explanation. So
No, and I appreciate that. Like, you know what? In all honesty, like I think, and I'm hoping that, some of the people who've really supported me over the years really hear this, because it's really important to note when someone isn't, I guess, as active as we would like them to be. And I'll take myself for example. It's those messages where like people are just like, "Hey, still listen to, Black Bouquet, or I still listen to this song. It touches me, still love it. Just want to, like, send you words of encouragement." Or, if somebody just randomly tweets like, I don't care, like Leila Dey's music is whatever. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
those
Like,
little, yeah.
in those moments, those have really brought me a long way. They've carried me through the times where I'm like, man, like should I just not do music anymore? Like I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody's listening. That's a question that like I ask
Cross your
myself
brain
all
all the time.
the
Yeah.
time. Are people even listening? Do people even care whether or not I drop? Um, that's a whole thing. Like that's a whole other thing, even in
We
terms of like,
care. And not to cut you, we care. And for those that don't want to admit it, or they as as I've said before, like one of the things that helps keep me motivated, I know niggas wake up daily or check your link to be like, I knew she won't stop. Those things as well help to fuel. So let me tell you, girl, especially coming from Toronto, even if they do not tell you, I just
yeah,
I ego is not, you know what I mean? We are rooting for you. And unfortunately, but fortunately, there are people out there rooting to see you stop doing what you're doing. So every time you pop up, when they see that fine, you and your fine melanated self on those covers, it just shuts it down and puts the devil to rest. So yeah, don't ever like, it's healthy to question yourself because that is a true part of growth and a true part of being the people that really want to add, change and things and not to be like preachy, but if you're not asking yourself and being in self-reflection, which silence does really help those things, you know what I mean? Then are you really growing? Are you really trying
right?
to aspire to new heights? So it's completely healthy that you have those conversations with yourself, but just always come back to us because we are rooting for you. And being someone from Toronto and in these spaces, proudly as I'm talking or names come to me as I'm interviewing with other people in LA and all these other places, naturally, Leila Dey is an R&B artist as well. Shout outs to Marley and a couple, a lot of ladies that I love to, when you think of just Black women, and if we're not going to speak Julie Black, we're going to speak Kavaya Mighty and a whole bunch of names that come to mind of this generation that like rep for us, whether they want to admit it to you or not. So you do that and you do it well.
Thank you.
So mental health, always number one, but always come back.
Yes, I will. I mean, I know this now. I think I'm at a better place with it, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like I said, I'm grateful for everyone who is secretly rooting for me and I mean overtly rooting for me, people who are in my
Yeah.
being me. Like I said, that's really been the fuel to be like, okay, I have to hold myself accountable as well. So
Yes.
just really happy to be at this place where there's new music coming out and
Yes.
feel happy about it.
So excited. So I'm not even gonna tire you. You kind of mentioned it earlier. Top five R&B artists. Let's go.
Oh my gosh, this is so hard. Okay, before I just want to preface this is really bad, but like I just want to preface this like I'm a diverse artist. There's like
Yes.
my top five that I really go to, but there's also a lot of other people that I really have been inspired by and whatnot. But
Okay.
nonetheless, Lauren Hill, Jasmine Sullivan, are my like top two. I think Brandy is also one of my tops. But then also more recently, like her is definitely someone that I consider myself to be very influenced by. I love her vibe, I love her energy, I love what she stands for, and I love her live capabilities. It's really strong. And then I think and she would honestly, I think, kind of be considered one of my top fives because I've been to like five
Every.
her concerts. Yeah, like it's every
She's
concert.
amazing. Yeah. Yeah. She's super. Yeah.
Do you
Hands
think
down.
she's honestly very legendary
She
as a
is.
young
Yeah.
woman, Black woman? Like she's very legendary.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, I would say, I mean, it's so hard to do top fives. Um, I would, you know what? I would say like I love Anita Baker. I think she's us
Oh,
another kind of very, and Faith Evans too. Like I don't know,
yeah.
there's a lot of people who I feel like influence me,
Definitely.
and so it's really hard. Like the top five question is always very hard, but I
It
do know
is.
that like you already know my top two are Lauren and Jasmine. They will always be, up there for me because yeah, I don't know.
No,
They
that is
just
an amazing.
I forgot somebody.
Who?
Okay, I'm sorry. I have to put Ari Lennox. Listen, Ari
Oh,
Lennox, my girl. She's like my friend. Like
yeah.
I don't know, like like I met her and stuff like that, but I've never really met an artist in the industry, I find, like, who I didn't really know, but I knew. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
got a very like Toronto, like you belong here with us vibe. So thank you for confirming that because that's how I feel listening to her music and watching her on social media and her humor.
mine, like, she's the homie. Like, when she's on this, like, Ari be like, okay, y'all, I'm gonna call you back. She's on live. She's like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, girl, like, that is, that's like, listen, everybody knows me. Like, Ari is, yeah. And I love her music. It's still something like I love her music, but outside of that, like,
She's a
personality,
beautiful person. Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful human being. Yeah.
Thank you for confirming that. I always had the feeling that I wasn't able to meet her when she came to Toronto, but like her project, the artistry. But back to you, your list, I love it. I'm not surprised by it. Through listening to Detour, thank you for blessing me. And the vocal, like the harmonizations. Oh my God, I should have. Yes, I think it was the switch. The way how you even opened up the track, like right away, it just, like it gave me like exactly what you said. I'm not gonna put no names. So it gave me Leila Dey. You know what I mean? You did a beautiful job. But I want to. I'm not just glazing over it like that. So I wanted to ask you. In one of the tracks, you're kind of the intro. You started off with, "Is it safe to say a poem?"
Absolutely. It's a poem,
Okay.
yeah.
And the thought, I'll just read it out as I have it here. If I'm going to be by myself, then I'd rather be alone. And I want to know, is that coming from a toxic place, Leila Dey?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's talk about it.
That is a toxic place. And
I
I'm saying
said,
this,
new caption alert.
I'm telling you, it's also a reminder. So, like, when
Yeah,
I'm making these songs, like, in the moment, I was also making these songs, like, for myself,
yeah,
to come through a relationship that really hurt me and,
yeah.
like, broke me, So, um, when I'm saying, like, I would rather be alone than be in a relationship with someone and feel
Jeez,
alone. Like,
jeez.
that to me is crazy. Like, if I can't have a conversation with you, we're not communicating. If I'm not getting responses from you, simple things, you're brushing me off, or you're not even paying me any attention or mind. Um, we all have things, like, as human beings, as like single entities, we all have things going on within ourselves and things
Definitely.
going on in the world, like, outside of us being in a relationship. You add someone else or you add a child, that's
A
obviously
whole nother,
a
yeah,
whole other ball game, right?
yeah,
However, just like being in a relationship, there are obligations that you speak to the person that you're with, your partner, that you engage with them as if you care about them. And if you don't, which, again, like, about communication, I'm a, like, I always say, like, even in the song, I say, I don't ask for much. I don't think I'm super hard to love, and I
yeah,
try to give space to my
yeah,
partner. But, you know, I think it's important. If something changes, I would prefer for someone to speak to me about it. I'm, like I said, I'm not like, oh my God, like, I don't consider myself that kind of person.
yeah,
Life happens, things happen, we fall in love with people, and we also fall out of love with people.
yeah,
The only thing we owe our partners and the people that we're in relationships with
yeah,
is the truth and the honesty about where we're at. And
yeah.
yeah, I feel like when we're not giving that, then I'm gonna make a song that says I would rather be alone
Yeah.
than feel alone. What's the
Yeah,
point?
yeah, yeah,
Are we
yeah,
here? Like,
yeah.
why are we here? Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the idea of Notice and the song.
That's myself and like so many people that have been in relationships can relate to. Like, I heard that lyric as I said, and right away I was like, geez, yes, 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 yes. Because it's crazy, especially when you feel like you've built such a level and, transparency with someone to still feel like, yo, how can I be around you and still feel so much by myself? But, girls like me, we appreciate the toxic lyrics because, as I said, caption, but I do not take your real life experiences
Like, do you know how much that also
It's
affects someone's
deep.
mental health?
It's
Yeah.
deep.
And like how can we be here and I care about you so much and you say you care about me so much,
Yeah.
but there's no effort for us to be, get better and communicate in a different type of way. And the song opens up with me saying, time is moving faster while I'm here. Like I'm literally, so and it's the idea of me being in this relationship, like waiting, waiting. Like, you know what? You're going through something.
Mm,
Maybe gotta
mm.
wait. Like I want to be very conscious that like it's not just about me. It's also about you, and maybe something is happening or something's going on with you.
Give and
I'm here
take.
waiting. Right, give and take, waiting. So, time is moving. And
Yeah.
if at some point we have to reevaluate and be
Yeah.
like, can't wait forever.
So
So,
here's the kicker for me, Layla. Here's the kicker for me, okay? My apologies. I mistakenly wrote in the wrong order. So that was not from the poem. It was from Notice, okay, on the project. This here is cool, okay? Losing it all has brought me to the richest places.
Sometimes you just have to curve a thing, you know?
Losing it all has brought me to the richest places. Where's my
absolutely.
mic?
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. I do have to mention, shout outs to Desiree McKenzie. She is actually the writer of this poem.
Dope.
Um,
Shout outs to you, Queen.
like commissioned her
Sorry, I
to
didn't have that information with me. So,
or this information wasn't super public knowledge. It's actually
yeah,
coming out. But Desiree McKenzie, we sat and I commissioned her to do this poem for the project specifically, and she just nailed it. Like we
she
talked about,
snapped, crackled, and popped.
but that literally is my life. Like after speaking, telling her my story, and her coming up with the idea of like losing it all has brought me to the richest of
Ooh,
places. Like I've I feel like, and I think a lot of people, not just me, but I can only really speak for me, but like I've lost a lot of things, but in losing all of those things, and
it's
if when
like,
I
did
think
I
about any
really lose? Did
exact
I?
exactly in the moment,
Yeah,
so over that we're like, oh my gosh, like I'm down, like I'm down
yeah,
right now, right?
yeah,
Our lemon, and but in the same at the same time, it's like the idea of like people are saying like we don't know what good is until we've lost, or we don't know what up is until we've experienced down. And so that's the idea of like, it's brought me to the richest of places, met very beautiful people, has kept me very humble and down to earth,
yeah,
because losing it all could really happen to anybody at any time.
yeah.
But it's about the experience. Like, when you are at that place, like, what is the experience? What are you taking away from it? So, yeah, I think that's a mic drop too.
As crazy, definitely, as crazy as this sounds, majority of these huge CEOs, multimillionaires, Fortune 500 company people, Grammy Award winning artists that I've spoken with, let me tell you, okay? They've said in a common theme that pain and suffering, essentially, like I'm paraphrasing, but pain and suffering is what has led them, like this girl Desiree, she said it perfectly, has led people, ourselves. When I think about, there's something about when your back is against the wall, you're going through that deep feeling. Like if you didn't go through all of these things, if you didn't take this mental break, Detour would not be here with us today. So you know what I mean? Similar to even like To This Day, which is a really underrated song for Tiana Taylor, Rose in Harlem. You know what I mean? But like those type of that thought process and that idea where it's just like there's, when it comes to growth, whether we want to admit it or not, there is a certain amount of pain and suffering that goes into that that makes the experience so beautiful. The greats
Absolutely.
that we love, Luther, Anita, Nina, Anita Baker, Anita, like Aretha Frank, like all of their stories are so painful when you really think about it. It's
Yeah.
so traumatic.
It's just about owning your truth. Like,
Mm.
look at Adele.
Oh,
Adele's about to come out
can't
too. Like,
wait.
am I am ready. I'm here for it. I'm here
Yeah.
for growth as well. Whatever it is that she puts out. One of my favorite vocalists right now also is Yeba. Yeba is a beat, and like Yeba is so good at like invoking an emotion
Mm,
in like and pulling from a really special place for herself that you can't help but feel Yeba, and you can't help but feel Yeba's pain. But at the same time, like I think, she's lost a lot as well, and it's
yeah.
brought her to a really rich place, that money cannot buy.
Mm,
That it's an experience that honestly you just have to kind of go through in order to get to the level of goat that
yes.
you want to be at, whether that is like you said, like Prince, like Yeba, like
Yeah.
Adele. There are people who have, like Amy, rest her soul, like Amy Winehouse,
Person. Yeah.
talking about, people just owning their truth and talking about those losses and really gaining the riches that they could never experience otherwise or get otherwise.
There's serious beauty in being vulnerable, and when people really dial back why they love music so much, that is like, I would personally say that is a premise of it. There is being
Yes.
vulnerable. I look at sometimes like video content where I felt like I look so beat. I was just like in bed and I decided to really share something that was on my heart, and then that's what like goes crazy. I'm like, oh, like what happened
Girl,
to this
is that,
edited properly manicured content,
is
right?
that not my life? Literally, I've been there. I mean, really quick story. Like I said,
Oh,
I was in my car
yeah.
and I sang this cover, the Sunshine Anderson cover. Heard it all before. Like when I look back at the video, I'm like, my braids were still. I had on my glasses, I had on my hoodie, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I was vibing out.
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's always the videos where you're like,
I should have
really?
posted that.
But it's like that in itself has completely changed my life, has connected me to people whom I probably would have never connected with before. And
Yeah.
so that's why I say like Detour speaks to me in so many different aspects of my life. Like, the idea of me just like singing because I love the song, not singing because I'm like, oh God, I gotta put out content. I'm like, this is a
It's
song that
really,
like, well, just I haven't heard in a really long time. I love 90s R&B. I love 2000s R&B.
yeah.
Haven't heard in a really long time. It is a bop. I'm like, okay, does anybody else remember this song? Let me sing it. I
Yeah.
sang it. It wasn't like this whole curated content that sometimes I put so much energy into,
Effort. Mm-hmm.
it misses the mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's so strange how that works, but I think it's in perfect alignment.
Perfect
Yeah.
alignment. I love that. I love that. Right. So I want to know, what does SFTC stand for?
Yes, so SFTC stands for Shorty from the City. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
I loved all the records, to be honest. Yeah. But I was curious to know.
So yeah, so Shorty from the City, SFTC is a record called Shorty from the City. That's a record that I actually crafted and cultivated while I was in Philly.
Dope.
So
Shout outs to Philly.
shout outs to Philly, one of my like favorite places to go, like literally
Yeah.
City of Brotherly. Like
For
that is so
real.
rare.
Yeah.
French. Shout outs to Jazz. Shout outs to the studio that I went to. It was just real vibes. Shout out to Rents Do everybody. So um I was in Philly for a show. I had the ability to go to a really dope studio. And I really do want to shout them out. I don't remember. I think it's 1120. I'm gonna mess
Yes,
the name,
because
but
Philly always shows love. Shout outs to everyone. So definitely. Definitely.
1122 MMG Studio in Philly. Okay. So I went to the studio. We were there again. During this time, I was still in this like kind of tumultuous relationship, but it was more on the ending part of it.
Yeah.
So to Philly again, every time before I like start to record, I'm like, okay, like what do I want to say when I'm writing and whatnot. And we had the ability to get into the studio and all this stuff. And then I was like, I'm in Philly, but I feel like Leila Dey, me myself, like I don't really have like a Toronto record. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I don't have a like this is like paying homage to like my city. And I feel like this record, that was like my intention, but it also was just the idea of like, um, I need y'all to understand that, like, the shorties from the city, i.e., me, the Toronto girls, like wherever we're from, and if you're from whatever city you're from, right? Like the
Yeah.
shorties from the core who are like, okay, we're not like rural, we're not like we're not like suburbs, we're the straighties from the city. Like we don't play the bullshit. Like we don't play that here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and especially from Toronto, it's me. I'm saying because I was also in a long distance relationship, and maybe they didn't know about me, and they didn't know about Toronto girls. Maybe they didn't know that we
Facts.
don't play that, but
They're learning. The world is learning slowly.
to know today. You know what I'm saying?
Shorty from the
That's
city definitely helps. They're learning.
learned today that we don't play that here. You know what I'm saying? All the little, foolery that you want to conduct and do, that slides with all everybody else. But the shorty from Toronto, this shorty from Toronto, I don't play that. So that's what that song is mainly about. And because I think I was in Philly, also everyone was like, "This is like really cool. Like it's a really cool like perspective," because I was already not in Toronto when I
Hmm.
recorded it. I was thinking about home. I was thinking about like I need people to know that like we don't play those games. Like
Yeah.
and every Toronto shorty that I know, like we don't play. We don't play around, especially like we'll be quick to let y'all know like no. We're
Yeah.
not about to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So moving forward, this track is a lot. I can definitely see it creeping into as soon as I'm able to add it to one of my playlists into my morning playlist, Bless Freestyle. Why was that an actual freestyle
Yeah.
or love that record?
Really, I know that's so. Thank you. It's so strange. I mean, bless it. It has such a really interesting story behind it. Like, I am such a calculated person, I find,
Mm,
sometimes too calculated. And Bless was one of those records that I wanted to not feel so calculated.
mm,
If a lot of the other records, and if you actually know even anything really about my artistry, I love a really good, crafted, cultivated
yeah,
song.
yeah,
Like from vocals, I like
yeah,
harmonies,
yeah.
like,
Structure.
exactly a particular kind of structure. And Blessed wasn't that at all. It was so off the whim. It was just like, I had on this shirt. Shout outs to Hakeem. He was with me, and the shirt said Blessed on it. And we were just kind of like shooting a shot, like literally shooting a shit, like just freestyling. And then he was like, "Yo, like I'm blessed," and I was like, "I'm blessed," and we just kept going back and forth, like I'm blessed, like. And
Yeah,
we were, it was almost like a mantra that we just kept saying, like we're
yeah,
blessed, which honestly we are blessed. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? When I think about it, like we've all come through a pandemic. A lot of people didn't have the don't have the ability to be here right now. When I'm thinking about my life and like where I'm at and what I've gone through, and to be able to still find joy in music, um, to still be able to sing, to still be able to smile, to still be able to wish
It's
other people
huge.
well, like all these different things. I'm like, listen,
Yeah.
like I'm blessed. It doesn't happen for everybody, and I think people need to understand that. And also, it doesn't happen for you, like not you specifically, but
No,
whoever's
yeah.
listening. Yeah, like not everybody gets to be where you're at, and so we just have to give thanks, and that's really what I wanted to do. It really just ended up being a freestyle because I was like, you know what, uh all right, and I was like, okay, and it just kept going and kept, I just took it line by line, and it wasn't anything that I wrote down. I'm a very big like pen to pad kind of writer,
Love it.
but
Love it.
time, and I was like, what do the I sound like my grandma, but I was like, what do the young people do? Like they be freestyling stuff, and I was like, all right, cool. We just about to freestyle this record, but it was fun, and it's so outside of like I feel like Leila Dey and what people expect of Leila Dey. It's heavily auto tuned. That's not really my thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we know you
and
can sing. We know you can sing. So I wasn't offended by hearing that.
thank,
Like, I know you got the vocals for real, for real. So,
thank,
if anything, if I'm being completely transparent with you, I'm still yet to hear that Layla Day track that just as a personal fan, I feel like you like when you hear Whitney, I Am Nothing, I feel like that is a track as a fan of her, listening to her music. I
Yeah.
personally feel like in the studio, she really let it
Yeah.
out on that one. And I feel like you tease me so much. I know you got the range, I know you got the ability, but that song where I like hold the table, I'm like, who? Like, was she okay after she sung this? Like, I am in no way rushing you. In no way rushing
Oh,
you. That is just something that I'm able to look forward to because I enjoy every, as I said, Detour. It's a project where I feel like I'm really, you really were everything you spoke on, taking the time for mental health, being able to get your mind back in focus, being present in the moment, exercising gratitude in your life. I hear all of this in Detour. So I am so excited for where that brings you. It's just like, yeah. If I'm just being like real, I'm like, I know you still got more in there. It's not, this isn't all it. This
I
isn't all
love I
it.
love I love transparency because oftentimes actually I feel the same way. Um, but it's coming. I think it's coming. I
I'm excited to wait for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jake thing where he says like 100 million, I'm still on the grind. But and he also says that's the kind of idea that it is. It's like, I think people like it, but I know that like my capacity is much further than what I'm actually putting out right now. But I'm really excited for the future because it's coming. It's coming.
And
Yeah.
that's great because, as I said, I can speak, of course, from a media standpoint, but as a fan as well. And when you think of your audience, and I would like your audience and people that are part of that, there's a health. I don't know if artists really think of this or whatever, but there's similar how Rihanna has yet to put out another project. And I'm a super fan of her, but listen, I had that anticipation, and this is just one of the things in my like love for Leila Dey as like an artist. This is an anticipation that is healthy for me. That is something that as like, what is the next project coming? What is that? Like, like it gives that feeling and there is no ceiling to it. So I'm really happy to watch you as well go through all these motions and grow and just see your journey as an artist. And when you decide to give it to us, we will gladly take it.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm ready. I think it's coming. I think I just, I just got to link with the right people and cultivate that a little bit more. But absolutely, I'm so grateful. Thank you for like, the insight because I'm glad that somebody else is also kind of hearing like, yeah, I hear her. I love what she's doing, but I
That's
want to.
me being frustrated, being like, oh, I heard that run. Come on, girl. I need to stop. Like, it's one of those. So I'm truly just excited.
It's coming.
She's like, girl, you don't even know. Like, right? So show me. All right. Self explanatory, but what inspired Show Me?
So actually, Show Me was one of those songs like I did almost like 4 years ago. Well,
Okay.
I started it maybe even more than 4 years ago. Um, and it was a song. It wasn't finished, but it was a song that I always loved, but it wasn't where.
There.
Yeah, it wasn't there. It wasn't where I wanted it to be yet. So I shelved it. I
Mm,
put on the shelf, and I was like, I'm also not really at that place, and I don't know if I can really finish this song to the capacity that I want the song to be at right now.
mm-hmm.
So I shelved it for many years, um, and then in going through this relationship, and then coming out of that relationship, and I was like, okay, like so now that I'm taking the time to heal, I've taken the time to heal, and I'm moving forward and moving on from this relationship. Like, what do I want to say to the next person that I end up being with?
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
song,
I love that.
right?
I love
And
that. Powerful question.
like the song in itself um is very sensual, but also it's saying like I don't really want this anymore.
Mm,
I need action. I want someone to show me that this is where you want to be. I'm who you want to be with. After coming out of,
yeah.
you know, whatever is in Detour and Crab and people not noticing me and whatever, I'm at a place now where I want someone to show me. And so it kind of doubles down as like a very sensual song, but also at the same time, it's like that idea of telling someone now, like what I want and what I expect. And so after it being shelved for many years, I connected with a really beautiful human being, Aaron Paris, as well as a band that encompassed a lot of different people, but Kevin Kofo, Kemi, Glody, John Bacala, like these are all people who contributed to the making of this song.
Yeah.
And for me, like if you listen to Show Me all the way through, it's so cinematic. Um, at the way that it ends, it's
I
definitely
literally have written down under Show Me, no denying vocal ability. I don't have a reason. I literally wrote down those 4 words. Yeah. Yeah. You did that.
it's just it's just a feeling. And honestly, I'm gonna tell you something. I do not ever um toot my own horn or big up
Toot
my
it,
own.
girl. Toot it.
I know, but never.
Toot it. Toot it. 2022. We made it through this panini. We're tooting. We're tootling.
Period. Um,
I'm so
love-
angry.
I just love the feeling that it gave me when it was complete
Yeah.
because I had
Ooh.
shelved it. I'm the kind of person like if I shelve a song, I'm gonna tell you something. If I shelve a song, it's more than likely that song will not see the light of day. Be-
Artists
because
never
I've
satisfied with their work.
thank you. I've moved on. But for some reason, like this song just really stuck with me.
Yeah.
And I don't like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if it's gonna be a favorite of anybody's, but it's a favorite of mine just based on its ending, kind of cinematic ending and the feels that it gives me with the band and with Aaron's strings and with the background vocals, like everything from that second verse, it started out a cappella and then we built around it. Like it was me saying like ah, like every single thing I was
Let me
very
repeat my notes here. No denying vocal ability.
I appreciate you so much. It was work. But it was so beautiful. And I want to do that.
Beautiful. James
I want
Blunt.
that again. So thank you so much. But yeah, Show Me, that's literally the story of Show Me. It will go down honestly in the history books for me
Oh yeah.
as like just
Oh yeah.
a really
Oh yeah. When you get to performing, oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is like and I'm just guilty. As I said, like I'm a real music like nerd. So as well, when I'm listening to these songs, and those are like all the things that are going through my mind. Like, oh, this is the one with the show with the lights. This is the Beyonce XO. This is the, you know what I mean? So definitely like heard that. See the cellular lights on. I see it. I see it. You got it. You got it.
right.
Claimed, received.
Give me the budget and I will deliver a
The budget
show.
is yours. The budget
Budget
is
is
yours. The budget is yours. I I I don't know how much effort or like attention you put into the order. As I said, I pay attention to everything. So it was a beautiful come out of I am blessed. Even when we're speaking of, as I said, growth, mental health, detours, gratitude, all these things, and just in what I've been receiving in terms of just word in my life where it's just like, okay, that is a great space to come out of. After being like, I am blessed, as we say in church, I am blessed, I am healed, I am all those things, affirmation for self love. As you've explained, Detour, you took this time to yourself, and then you came into a space where you're like, all right, show me. And that was like a beautiful transition. And it didn't stop there. Even though it did stop there because this is the last track. But I really, really as well appreciated Passenger for thousands and millions of reasons. But being a Black female and having like my own thing going on, and we want to be in love and we have these ideal relationships, and the way we set it up, and a lot of the times it's promoted that women stand beside your man and be supportive, but 2021 moving into 2022, being that independent ass bitch, all these things, right? A lot of these men, shout outs to all my girls, all my lovely ladies that I know offline and in line and all the lines, okay, real life. But but like that is a huge part that our partners will have to adjust to. There's a lot of millionaires being made. There's a lot of generational curses being broken and riches that are being had. Not all of them looking, So passenger, I truly appreciate it for a lot of like those reasons, and I can go on and on. And is like I want to ask you, what is handling all of Leila Dey? What does that, you're like, can you
Everything.
handle me? Are you down? And like,
Yes. Are you committed?
yeah,
Are you committed? Because now that I've understand, like, life has hills and dips, are
yeah,
you committed with
yeah.
me? Because
It's
I'm going
shaky
to be
out there,
committed to
fam.
that with you. Shake you. It's
Yeah,
Victoria.
yeah,
Do we need to repeat Shorty from the City? I don't play
see
that.
that.
Shake you warrior. I would rather be alone than be with another Shake you warrior.
Yeah,
So, it's the idea that what I'm going to be presenting to you is loyalty and commitment. Are you going to present that to me as well? Because I think, like, like you said, moving into this new age, and a lot of us black women who are very independent, a lot of times also partners have or feel threatened by a very
mm,
independent woman, but not to be threatened. It's not to be a threat. It's to be embraced. It's to be collaborative in that sense. The An independent woman is not saying, "Oh my God, like
I'm
we don't
better than
need nothing.
you.
I'm better than you." It's to be collaborative as
Yeah,
opposed to maybe, someone else who might take a different approach.
yeah,
So I think with Passenger, like me coming into Passenger, and that was my first single that I had released a couple years ago, but me coming into Passenger is really saying, like, are you going to be as committed as I am? And I mean, it comes off in a little bit of a different way, but it's saying, like, are you down to be my
yeah.
passenger? Not to be behind me, not for me to be behind you,
Vice
not like for us to
versa.
come into this fairly equal and move together as a unit. Because a passenger is beside you, not
Yeah,
not well, I guess the passenger seat is beside you. I
yeah.
mean, everything else
Either
behind,
way, you're traveling together
we're
to the same
traveling,
destination.
right? So it's the idea,
Hopefully.
the sequel, but hopefully not.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that we're going somewhere together. So
yeah.
we gotta be on the same page. I love that you're here with it. You're here with it. That's really nice because, sometimes we have different type of listeners, and as much as I put so much work into the cultivating of the project, the track placements, the ideas behind it, and
Mm,
everything.
yeah.
Everything you touched on today is really beautiful because there's some listeners who are just like, one, two, three, four, five. All right, cool. We get it. Like, just here. And we're not really thinking about it as in depthly. And
Yeah.
so I'm really grateful because I think having this kind of conversation really excites me. Like, this is the kind of
Thank you.
conversation I want to have, the kind of interviews I want to kind of have, because
Thank you.
yeah, it really talks to the project as a whole, not on a surface level, but also kind of like more in depth.
So um just you don't have to be too specific if you want, but I want you to find love out there. So what are some if you could list anything, what is something that you could say is a part of handling all of Leila Day?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm a micromanager.
Okay, okay.
I'm working on it.
You
Handling
said
all.
list, and I'm a list girl, so I completely resonate with that. List me, okay? We need organization, we need times, we need dates, we need yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe list me, but I'm a list you too. I am.
Yeah,
I'm a micromanager when it comes to certain things. Like,
yeah,
and I remember, sometimes I have to remind myself that, like, in a relationship, nobody wants to be like micromanaged. It's not like I'm
yeah,
a manager and you're my employee.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So can you handle that piece of growth also? Like, I'm gonna
Mm,
be growing as well, but like, can you handle a conversation to me, that's in a respectful way, but that's saying, hey, like, I don't need a manager right now,
Yeah.
essentially, right?
Yeah.
I'm a micromanager. That's something that I've really noticed. Like, I like to be in control of myself,
Yeah.
but also be in control of what's happening around me. And sometimes my partner might be lumped into that. Um, I mean, I can also be very, like, I can put up like these blinders or these blocks or whatever, especially if I'm hurt. Again,
Mm.
communication is something that I'm really on, and communicating through those difficult times. Like, if I feel hurt, the first thing I want to do is shut down. And that's not helpful. I'll shut down and be like, listen, I am the best ghoster of life. Like, I can be like see you one day, like, hi, like, and then the next day be like, stranger. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, it's
Yeah.
not something
I think that's
of,
like
you
a
know.
Toronto thing as well. Like, we've just been conditioned to like
We're getting old. I don't want to be like, consistently like, if I have to, then sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I get
in a
what you're saying.
relationship, like we have to lose some of ourselves to our partner and for the betterment of the relationship. And so I think like that's what I mean by like, can you handle my confidence? Can you handle my independence? Can you handle the idea that like, um, I don't need you, I want you. And the same
Mm,
thing, you may not need me, but
mm,
you want me, and we want to want each other. You know what I'm saying? The Can you handle, my the days where I have an attitude? Can you handle like I exist in two extremes. I tell people all the time. I exist in
how
two extremes.
much is it gonna take for you to pat down? My background vocals. You
There you
got
go.
me, girl.
Not to be hired, but I exist in two extremes. Can you handle me when I
Yeah.
look like I don't belong to nobody? And then can you I'm all dolled up and you're like, oh girl, you look
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Everything, every
Yeah.
aspect, bad, ugly, amazing, etc. And that's
Yeah.
what I like. Can you handle that? Because if you cannot, let's have an honest conversation and you say to me, you know what, maybe I'm not at that space or I'm not at that place. But if you can, then I'm gonna afford you the exact same level of love or,
And you get
commitment.
the last point or thing I'll bring up about Passenger, because I can honestly talk about Detour forever, and I'm mindful of your time. So whenever you have to go, I know you've had a super crazy day. Just feel free to let me know. But yeah, don't hesitate. But with Passenger as well, I've been recently reading because Gabrielle Union just dropped her like second book. So she had a first book, We're Going to Need More Wine, and almost finished reading it. But there was this part in there where she was speaking of her first marriage, and they were with the counselor, and she's speaking on this is like the thought that like emerged like reminding me, and I made that connection with Passenger, right, where similar to what you're speaking on, and she caught herself, or the passenger made her come to the realization that she was saying like everything is competition for her and she has to win. And the therapist said to her, well, who loses if you win? Like, you're in a relationship with this person, that's not the goal. You don't want to see the person lose. And it's a healthy, like, toxic but healthy toxic. It was a great way to just kind of like, and that's what I'll say there. And I also want to ask you, not ask you, but say, or you can comment towards how you feel. When you were speaking on that, I've been privy to dating people like in the industry or artists that create art and music. And I'm sure you've had similar experiences, or those of you at home watching, listening, you can relate, where like something that I've had to learn and still learning, where what that person is creating art about, not to try take it personal, but not take it so personal, and kind of be respectful of the fact that like there's kind of like a guidebook that comes along to like dating an artist if I'm making any sense, where it's just kind of like as well being the other person in that relationship, to kind of be, I'm rambling with my words, but being mindful of, I think you're getting what I'm trying to say, being mindful that not everything that it's your healing. Literally, I'm hearing your healing, and maybe you might have said some things where I'm like, this wasn't us. This wasn't what you talking about. Like, why are you being weird to me? Like, but how do you kind of like deal with that or gauge that, or how are you looking to move with that going forward into, next situations or possibilities that you may have coming?
Yeah. Listen,
Because we can't avoid it. We're going to have to,
that's a good question, honestly. Okay. I'm gonna be really, really honest and real with you. I love Detour and the relationship that I was in when creating and crafting Detour. That person doesn't, well, I'm sure they're gonna know. They haven't heard Detour, so they're gonna know about
a
Detour.
lot. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how the reaction is gonna be, but I mean, essentially, it's my truth, and as someone else, like when you are dating an artist, I think it's important to, yes, be mindful that it is our healing and our release about what we're experiencing, good, bad, or ugly. I mean, nobody's ever really upset when, like, a great song comes out about them and they're like, oh man, I'm so in love. Like, boy, you hear me with so much. Like, whatever, right? Like, ain't nobody upset about that.
Yep.
It comes to what's real and what's honest for that person, it might not look the same for the other person on the other side.
Exactly.
I want that to also be highlighted as well. My story, my detour, my experience may look different for the other person who I experienced it with. And that's okay too. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, there's not like a right or wrong, but at the end of the day, I am going to speak my truth. I think for artists, as long as you're also mindful that, you know, people are going to be like, well, who is it? Or like, who is this about? Or like, who did whatever.
Yeah.
You want to be mindful of like that person, especially if they're not in the industry, they're not in music. They want to live their own life as
Right.
well. As long as you're still respectful of their privacy, you're still respectful of like, whatever that is them. I think you're more than welcome. You have to speak your truth,
You
And
have to.
for me, I mean, that's my life. I mean, if you date me, you gotta know that there's gonna be a song somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, eventually, especially if you did me wrong.
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're winding down to the end. I know I am just like being so selfish and asking you so many questions, but I'm truly finding out right now, full circle moment. So definitely don't want to take this time for granted. So a traditional question, staple question we ask all of our guests, we have the 5 elements. You have spirit, earth, wind, sorry, air, fire, water, air, fire, water, spirit. Why is this blanking me? I should be writing this down. Shame on me. 5 elements. I'm going to try this again. You have fire, air, water, earth, and spirit. Which element, Leila Dey, do you feel like resonates or represents you the most? It doesn't have to be one, and why?
Mm, I would say fire and earth. I
Mm,
know for most people, I know for most people those two things sit at like the opposite end of a spectrum, but I feel like I really do move between those two things. I can absolutely be very fiery. Um, I'm a Leo. I'm like my sun
Oh,
sign is
you
a Leo.
crazy, huh? You crazy, huh? Shout out to all the Leos out there.
You get a bad rap all the time, but I mean I can be, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I find that like
She's like, ha, 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 but I can be. Love it. Okay.
no, for real, like I can be, I really can be, and
We all can. Yeah.
I'm not gonna act like I can't be. I'm sure, I have a number of exes who could could attest. But
You want to
but
test this? Here.
exactly, exactly. But at the same time, I do find myself to also be very, like a very rational person. I can be very grounded. I can be very earth in the sense of like, I'm always trying to, I'm like, the biggest thing my friends will always say is like, you're always playing devil's advocate. You're always trying to see the other side of things. You're always being empathetic. I am a fairly empathetic person all the time.
Nothing wrong with that.
So I'm always trying to like, see a different perspective, which I feel like is the idea of grounding. That idea of like you're never too big or too high or too, you know, flowy or gone with the wind, if you want to say that, you're not stable. You're not like actually thinking about other people's experiences, their emotions, their feelings, how you affected them, how they've affected you.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would say that like I am very in terms of, I would say, with my passion, with like if I'm passionate about something, if I put my mind to something, I am very fiery. I'm like, okay, I want to do this thing regardless if there are barriers. I'm going to bulldoze right through those barriers. I can be very fiery. But at the same time, I can also be very grounded. I feel like those two things really speak to my character the most.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. So I just have a few starts of sentences. And if you can end it however you choose, and we can expand if you choose. And I promise is very close to finishing. So, first one will go, right? Love is,
Love is selfless.
music is,
Music is healing.
self care for me is,
Self care for me is pivotal, imperative.
mm, mm, amen to that. And I feel loved when.
Um, Damn, that's like I feel like I have a long. I feel loved when my love language is. This is gonna be long. I'm sorry. My
Oh,
love
yeah.
language is acts of service. Like when when somebody contributes to the lessening of like my life stressors or things that I have to kind of get done. So I really feel love when somebody is thinking of me outside of themselves and saying, well, how could I make this person's day less crazy or wild, or if I had a bunch of stressors, like how could I make this person's day better or less stress free and stuff like that. So
Love
that's
that.
that's love for me.
Okay. I show kindness to others by, or I should say, I practice kindness when.
When I'm thinking about other people, showing empathy, putting myself in their shoes, well, trying to at least.
I love that. I love that. Okay. So this is my synopsis, and we're gonna thank you guys for rocking with us. Downtown World, don't waste no time with negativity. So right off the jump, Detour dropping should be out. Stream that. Spam Leila Dey. Make her phone break and die on her. Okay, let's run it up. And this is it for me. Okay, we are Detour. It doesn't mean we're not heading there. It's just in a different direction. Okay, losing it all can bring us to some of the richest places. Okay, as well, we are going to we are going to notice what's happening. We're going to pivot, we're going to switch. All right, you're going to know that I'm a shorty from the city. All right. I am blessed. All right, and because I'm so blessed, nigga, you need to show me okay, what is giving. All right. And passengers, pull up, act accordingly, put on your seatbelt. All right, we're going to this destination together in a healthy way. Love it, love it. Like I am so truly, truly happy for you. I like to when I just hear projects from artists, hear like them. And I know you said, you like interviews like this, but I cannot fake the funk with something that is not put into the art. You know what I mean? So thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for healing. Thank you for arriving. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being consistent. Thank you for being happy. Thank you for like empathizing with yourself and like just everything, Thank you for loving you because with all of that, we are able to get Detour. We are able to cheer you on, champion you on, and see you win. See you win as you deserve.
That's so sweet. Thank you so much. This has been an amazing interview. Thank you for taking the time to even, get background information on me and take a listen to the project and cultivate some really good questions. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So, Leila Dey, I want you to kind of, I like, if you're from Toronto, so you know about Speaker's Corner. Here we have Downtown Speaker, and it is where essentially our Speaker's Corner, but it doesn't even have to be related. Eat fruit, mind your business, but anything that you PSA to the world, what they need to know, what you want to be said, what anything. And of course, we are going to wrap and end with Detour, but just for right now, anything that you kind of want to get out there, you're like, yo, true say this, whatever your Speaker's Corner is, let it out. Downtown Speaker, Leila Dey.
All right. Speaker's Corner. All right. So my PSA is, it's really just, I guess, I want to say, I guess, to all the artists and all the creatives, number one, listen, mess with yourself. That is my PSA, public service announcement. Mess with yourself first. Don't let anybody tell you about yourself. You know yourself best, okay? If there's something that you want to do and it's honestly in your heart and you love it, like mess with yourself and everything else will follow and flow from there. Yeah, that's all I got.
That's amazing. Thank you. So let everyone know where they can support you, where they can find you, where they can stream your music. Detour, when this comes out, it will be out. So be sure to let everyone know. And also, we are normalizing here at Downtown World how you prefer to be approached.
Yeah, I mean, listen, okay, so Detour is, I guess, out. And you can stream on all streaming platforms. That includes Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, Amazon Music, what else? Pandora, everything. It's under Leila Dey. The project is called Detour. I would love if you listen to it and then tell like 5 other friends to listen to it. And then let me know, if you guys cultivate your own questions, I would love to answer them. Hit me up on Instagram. All of my social media handles are all the same, at Leila Dey. Leila Dey is spelled LeilaDey, not DAYDEY. Hit me up. If I don't respond right away, it's just because I'm busy because, a girl is working 9 to 5 and also doing music. But I really love to interact with everybody who supports me. So, DM me, comment, interact with me. I would love that. Come out to a show, support, when the merch drops, everything. You know what I'm saying? Just show your girl some love. That's it.
Love it. Let's continue to show Leila Dey love. Wish you all the success, Queen. Thank you so much for your time, guys. This has been another week's episode of Downtown World. Don't waste no time with negativity. Toronto excellence in the building. Leila Dey, she is one of the people that you could truly say puts in work for years and years and years, being consistent. And this conversation, I myself am going to go back, listen to notes, write down game that she's given, because as I said, this is a true, like, in my opinion, I'm fuck what y'all say, Toronto native that I personally can say I know a lot of people, or you're getting into this music space, that is a name that will ring, and I respect the work that you've done, and it's not hard, especially coming from Toronto, showing up every day. It's everyone talks about it and do this, do that, oh my God, da, da, da. But y'all can't even run your little businesses on Instagram for 45 days, okay? So, yeah, okay? So, we gonna eat fruit, mind our business, and we gonna be consistent. We're gonna cheer on this queen and continuously showing you love. You have family here at Downtown World, and thank you so much for your time.
Downtown, hey!